It means that the stuff is coming. I guess we're live now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the VR Download, a weekly show recorded live from the Upload Virtual Studios, where we bring you the latest news, reviews, comments, and interviews from the VR industry. My name is Kyle, Operations Manager at Upload, and let's see who we have with me this week. Over here to my right,
Hi, Ian. Thank you for joining us.
excellent, and over here to my left.
It's me, Tatiana. Dab on him.
Woohoo!
Oh
All
my god,
right.
Ian dabbed!
Did I do
Ian
it?
dab.
He did it!
I
So
learned.
I do finger dabs.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
Is
that's
that
so
cool?
bad.
No.
No.
Okay. I'm such a dad. All right, everyone. Well, let's get into this week's news discussion. Let's see if we can get there. First story this week is that Valve has sold through the immediate index stock straight away. Poof! As soon as it went live on March 9th, it was gone, and shipping is now backed up to 8 weeks. 8 weeks. That's 2 months.
Yeah.
Ian, what is your hot take on this?
Oh well, I can't wait to hear from all those people that got in that first hour, right? And probably got it before Alex. Like those are the people that were really ready, really wanted it, had their credit cards loaded into Steam, and were ready to hit that button right at 10 o'clock. And I hope I hope there's a significant number of those people who have been in the queue for a while here, waiting for an index and waiting to have that sort of top tier experience with Half-Life Alyx, because that's the promise, right? That you can go up to 144 hertz and have a really present experience, where you feel like you're that much more there because there's less timing between the frames, and then you've obviously got the index controllers, which let you do a few optional interactions with the space with the actual gripping. Yeah.
What do you think, Tatiana, about all this?
It's kind of crazy. My buddy Sim, he got in the first hour, and he's actually expecting to get his on Friday, hopefully. He
Oh
showed me the
wow.
screenshot, and it said like shipping soon, and this was I think yesterday or the day before, and he's only in Portland, so doesn't have to go too far, hopefully. But
Hmm.
yeah, the coronavirus I think is really affecting a lot of tech and delivery dates and stuff. Like a friend of mine, her sister was going to go buy a new iPhone. She was going to get the 11 Pro Max, and she couldn't because they didn't have any stock because of coronavirus.
Oh man.
It's crazy. It's nuts.
So, and that leads me to a big question that I have about this is that when Valve went live to sell these on March 9th, did they already have a huge stock, a storeroom somewhere full of them that they can sell? And as the orders come in, they ship them out one by one? Or is this in anticipation of a shipment coming on a big boat across the ocean? I mean, do we have any solid information on that, Ian?
No solid information, but they sort of knew that they've been alerting us ahead of time that number one, we want to get back in stock before Half-Life Alyx arrives. And then again, they later updated us to say, well, actually, because of coronavirus, we're not going to have as many as we planned. And I'm guessing they've got some internal lead time there where they really are making sure that they're getting their hands on these things before actually making promises they can't keep. Because the last thing you want to do is disappoint people right at the last second there and get their hopes up that they're going to get this top tier experience with Half-Life Alyx right before the game is supposed to ship, and then say, "Oops, we're not actually going to get it to you."
Right, right. Well, and that's the thing. I don't know, Tatiana, have you done the math? I mean, if you ordered it on the 9th and Alex comes out later in the month, how
And
many
the
of these people how many of these people are actually going to get their index before it comes out?
well, we don't have like a solid or like estimate of how many units were sold, do we?
Yeah, I
No.
haven't
No,
heard
yeah,
anything. Yeah.
it's. I figure that it's going to be 15% that get theirs before Alex comes out, or in
Hmm.
time rather.
Mm. Yeah, I
Hmm.
wonder
That's gonna be
about
my guess.
I wonder how many cancellations they had when those people didn't
Well,
get their immediate shipping.
Yeah, on Reddit, I was
Mm.
seeing that like people were basically getting bumped up because people would cancel their orders because they didn't want to wait.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can
Wow,
see
that's
that.
cool. Okay, so we just need everybody who ordered it beforehand. It just cancel. You're not going to get it before Alex. So just cancel, so that way other people can come in. No, that's silly. I'm not going to suggest that. Um, it's kind of neat though to know that Valve made a big deal of this. Now we have seen that there have been shortages of Oculus headsets and other tech. Do we think that there's going to be a trend? Do you think like Facebook Oculus will say, okay, now we've got a whole bunch of quests and come and order them and do kind of like an event like this?
Yeah, I kind of hope that. Well, obviously, we're watching the coronavirus numbers, and supposedly China uh, has very few cases being reported daily now, and maybe their factories are up and running, and maybe they're able to assemble more of these various devices. Actually, is Quest? Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah. Hopefully, the factories are rolling again. They're actually going to fix these supply issues pretty soon. Obviously, we had GDC planned for next week, and that would have been
Rip.
a, a lot of announcements. And we just
Yeah.
heard this morning on we've got a story up there on uploadvr.com that Facebook has announced their sort of blog post series and various videos that they're going to post next week in lieu of GDC. So we'll get some news out of Facebook at least next week, and obviously Half-Life Alyx is right after. So it's going to be a busy couple weeks. It's I would
Yeah.
imagine there's going to be a
Wow.
lot of people that are going to want headsets soon if they don't
Hmm.
already.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely a thing. Okay. Well, let's. Oh, we have comments. Do we have anything?
Suicidal Banana says hello, and
Hello.
Adam Hartswell says just stay home and play Skyrim VR for 2 weeks. Virus can't get you in VR.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the meme,
I heard someone suggest that we should move society to Animal Crossing, and yeah, there's places in VR chat and
Animal Crossing though.
all space.
What?
Yes, it's an unpopular opinion. Moving on to the next piece of news. It looks like HTC is responding to all the coronavirus stuff and aims to host a 2020 Vive ecosystem conference in VR. Wow. Okay, so we've all been tweeting and talking about it. Where are the virtual conferences? Who's going to do it first? Who's going to do it second? Who's going to do it right? Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, that they're using the Engage VR platform from I always mix up their name, but VR Education or Education
Correct.
VR. I think it's VR
Hmm.
Education. They're the makers of Apollo 11. I backed that Kickstarter back in the day. My favorite,
Yep.
favorite uses of VR is to sort of expand your mind and understand the universe, and nothing better than Apollo 11 to kind of do that. And yeah, so they've got this Engage platform that lets you kind of teach in VR and experience settings that were made for their platform. And we'll see how it works. I was just mentioning this on my Twitter feed this morning of there's this serendipity that happens at physical conferences where just happening to walk by someone and say, "Oh, hi, I didn't know you were going to be here." And I don't know if you can capture that in VR. And even if you do, you're I went into the Half-Life Alyx environments in Steam, and the very first thing I saw was a bad word, a really, really bad word, written tilt brush style in the middle of the air in like City 17 in the Half-Life. So my very first experience in Half-Life, in their Steam VR home environment was this horrendously offensive word written for all the people there to see. And like, yeah, if you don't have good troll protections and social tools, Museum of Other Realities is out there, and they've got a really nice system in place.
Ian, I want to apologize. If I had known you were coming in right after me, I wouldn't have written that.
What?
Never mind.
Never, yep,
So,
never
Tatiana,
mind. Went
Tatiana,
way over his head.
you've been to a lot of conferences over the
I
years.
have been to a lot of conferences. Yes.
What are your thoughts on
Oh, I get
VR
it now. I got the
conference?
joke.
There it
It
is.
took me.
Oh,
Yeah, there it is.
Jesus.
Okay. Finally.
Uh,
Oh, I'm so
What
upset.
what do you think? Would you go to them? Would you enjoy them? Would they give you the same experience that you're used to?
would they give me the same experience? no. Like 100% no. Like I say it all the time. CES for me is better than Christmas. I love walking around. I love seeing the stuff, getting my hands physically on it. Like CES is like, especially CES for me would just be, I could not do that virtually. But like maybe something like GDC, if I was just, demoing games or something, I could see it being convenient and working out, but
Hmm.
there's like you said, there's, when you run into people or you only see certain people at these certain events that you actually enjoy being around and talking to, you don't. Ian just dived into the table. Why did you do that?
I grabbed my phone so I could tweet out the link to the video, and
It
yeah,
was
my phone was over
terrifying.
there. So I'm sorry, I
Um,
freaked you out. Yeah.
uh,
it just but yeah, I don't think I would get that same
well, to
feeling, I don't know.
yeah, I do know that there's this feeling of like I can't like, oh, look at this new monitor. Oh, how look at how thin it is. Oh, wait a minute, I can't actually physically touch it. So tactical response isn't quite
Well,
there.
and you said, like, monitor too, like, I remember someone I think it was me and Sean walking around at E3 or not E3, CES, and, like, someone was recording, the new 8K Sony TV with their phone. He was like, "You big dumb idiot, you are recording this 8K TV with your 1080p recording phone. What do you think that's going to do for you and the people you are showing this to?" And he's absolutely right. And I think like stuff like monitors and stuff and peripherals will be the same thing. It's like you are limited by whatever your system is. So if you have,
Right
a
now.
1080 and not a 2080, you're limited to what that gives you.
Right, but right now. So we're in the infancy of the idea of virtual
Correct.
conferences. So it'll take time to evolve. And to your point about casually walking by and going, "Oh, hi, haven't seen you in a while." I personally have had some social experiences in VR where that actually has occurred, and just like when we're at an expo and you see this weird circle of people kind of form just naturally. I mean, it's a pod of geeks, or if John Carmack, we call it a Carmack of geeks when they're all standing around John Carmack at like a Connect. It does happen naturally, and so I think a lot of the social cues and the social nuances that we're used to at these expos can happen in VR. It's
It
just
can.
we all need to learn that that's okay.
So, yeah, I think the trick there though is that with GDC and E3 in particular, those events are about popularizing software and getting more eyeballs in front of games that more, people. There's a combination of the serendipity with, oh, do you want to go check this out? And so, like, you can just put
Mm-hmm.
a headset on real quick and see what the person is making, go, oh, cool, and have a conversation about that piece of software that you wouldn't have had. And there's no like equivalent of that yet. Horizon, I think, may want to be that kind of thing where it's like, oh, let's go off to my Horizon world real quick and check out what's over there after you have that kind of serendipity experience.
That is a good segue, thank you, Ian, to our next piece of news, which is actually about Facebook Horizon. Facebook Horizon closed alpha begins this month. And they had a bunch of people sign NDAs for it, which is a good sign because if you're at the point where you're having people sign NDAs, that means there's something worth showing them that you don't want the general populace to know about yet. What are your thoughts on that?
Hmm. I don't like the NDAs though, because it's like our enemy, right? Because it scares people from wanting to talk about it, and I guess I understand it. The thing about Horizon and VR Chat and Rec Room is they all have more or less kind of rudimentary visual scripting systems where you can embed logic and rules into your world using what I don't know, simple tools where you can just instantly comprehend you're grabbing this thing, you're doing this thing, you're connecting them together, and there's no learning curve to actually interact with these tools and get them to work in your space. And I would imagine that is the secret sauce that Facebook wants to kind of NDA and keep
Mm-hmm.
secret until they're ready. I think the thing is there that there's amazing things out there being done in Rec Room and in VR Chat, and VR Chat has its tools for doing this too. It's just it's one of those things where uh, Facebook has so many resources, so many millions of dollars, and they can kind of expend. They can, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, they can copy what is the best of what little startups are doing and do it better and faster in theory. I'm not saying that Horizon is going to be any better than Rec Room or VR Chat, but there definitely is a sense that they're in a race to provide the most robust tools for making virtual worlds while immersed in a virtual world. And I would
Hmm.
hate to see Facebook get kind of the complete ownership of that entire, a very large segment of that. There needs to be some variety of that market.
Sure, sure. And based on what I have seen on Horizon so far, it looks like, Facebook wants to give you a really good social experience from the waist up. So if you want legs, you may want to check out some of the other social platforms. Just saying. Tatiana, I'm curious. Uh, have you spent much time in the social experiences that are available for VR currently, such as Rec Room, VR Chat, maybe some of the other ones, Altspace, Sansar?
Not a lot. I've had my one experience with screaming Russian Kermit in VR chat, and I haven't
Mm,
returned since.
timeless classic, yes.
I honestly I remember it like it was yesterday. Rec Room I've done a little bit of, like, I like the paintball gun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I just need to, like, find more people to do it with.
Mm-hmm. And,
Um,
and that is part
yeah.
of the challenge is when you walk in, it's like going to a party alone and you don't know
Yeah.
anybody there. Right, right. I mean, some people can handle that and other people are like, I wish I had a little bit more comfort to go along. I feel like maybe we should do that. Maybe we should
Yeah.
just have a upload VR team just kind of go
Retreat.
around and check out all the different social uh,
Yeah, that's
options.
I've been asking around. I would love if you've got any cool VR chat worlds or Rec Room environments that you could recommend. Please leave them in the chat because I'd love to visit some of these places before Horizon gets into the wild, so that we can kind of spotlight and really let people know what amazing things are being done in some of these spaces that are already out there, built by some smaller startups than Facebook.
And that has been I participated in something like that, a similar concept of let's just tour around and see what else is going on. It's been a few years, and so I'm sure that things have evolved and
Oh yeah.
become a little bit more robust. So we'll have to see how that works. Is there anything from our chat that's worth?
There's something that's very important. Ian said the secret sauce, and I think it's important to let everyone know that soon you can buy the Chick-fil-A sauce by the bottle.
You eat Chick-fil-A?
I'm the worst bisexual person in the world. Please don't look at me like that.
I'm a Popeyes guy myself.
There's no
Anything from?
Popeyes close to here. I'd have to drive all the way to Inglewood. Someone said that Half-Life should bring, or sorry, Valve should bring Half-Life Alyx a week forward because of the pandemic. It's gonna get worse in a week after that, I'm sure. Um, Suicidal Banana said they don't really want Facebook Horizon to happen because they're annoyed by people overusing social media, and I don't need them to make some VR Second Life thing.
Did you say
And
Mm,
suicidal banana?
yeah, that's their
that's
name.
its name, yeah.
That's an appealing name. I liked it.
Lucas Cunningham said a big issue is that they're the only one of their friends with VR, so they don't often use social games. And then Suicidal Banana said, just play them and meet new people. I've added quite a few people over the last 2 years from simply meeting them in VR. And Adam Hartswell said, Galaxy Brain.
I'll be curious because so many of the social platforms like VR Chat and I think Altspace and a couple of they have 2D. They have screener mode where you can play it just on your screen and not without a headset. I'm wondering if that's kind of like the gateway, like get
Hmm.
people in that now, and then when they see the appeal of everybody else wandering around doing all sorts of fun stuff and they're limited to their screen, it might be a drive to get people to buy headsets.
Here's an interesting question, which I'm sure I feel both of you would probably have a strong opinion on this. Like, do you think, because a lot of people that I talk to that haven't really gotten to VR, but kind of got into it before, it was all through like the Gear VR and Daydream. Do you think that some sort of mobile phone type thing like Gear VR is ever going to make a return? And if so, would it be successful?
So, well, I don't think so. There's the other avenue, which is a wired in your pocket experience to a headset, and Nreal is trying to push that. They've delayed it multiple times for an AR experience, and we maybe people will try that again. The cool uh, Panasonic glasses that I tried could theoretically be powered that same way with a wire to your pocket or whatever.
Do they ever give like an
I
estimated price point for that? Or no?
No.
No.
Yeah. There's too many variables. They had no tracking on that system, and
I
yeah.
would have to agree with Ian here that the idea that having a phone on your face, I think that idea is gone. But the idea of the phone being a brain for a headset that goes down a wire, I mean, I could see like people creating clothing that has uh, a wire at the bottom and at the top. That way you can just go snip, snip, and then you're in. I see that coming down the road.
I
So
can't make scissor hands.
scissor hands,
I
yeah,
was gonna
can't
no,
really.
you
I
know,
mean,
snip,
Yeah.
snip.
we're of course waiting for the next generation of like wireless technologies, which could theoretically do that wirelessly, but then you've got to put a battery in both devices, and then it's
Hmm.
extra weight and bulk, and I don't know. It seems like the standalone Quest system is off to a really, really, really strong
Here,
start.
I got a perfect thing for you, Tatiana. Since you're wearing essentially what I just talked about, they should design. You just take the the little dongle hanging down for your pull string, and you just plug that into your headset, and then on the bottom there's one that goes down to the phone, or a pocket maybe the
Oh,
phone
I
plugs in.
thought you meant like in real life. I was like,
Oh
I'm wearing
no,
my
see,
pajamas.
we're having blurred lines here of reality and virtual. Yes. So just the pull strings on
They've
your
made
yeah.
headphone jackets like that, or
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
strings or the headphones.
I could see that coming. But yeah, so Facebook Horizon, what do
No
we have?
legs.
We don't have an actual release date or
Yeah.
any time frame. We don't have any idea. And we know that
N-
Facebook canceled or delayed whatever it is F8. Uh is it possible that they were going to announce that at F8?
Oh, it
Speculation?
seems likely. I would bet
Yeah.
that was kind of going to be a big push, but again, I don't know how big an announcement they want to do if it's still going to stay closed at this point and they're not really opening it wide. What I guess I should add that I did try a very early version at OC6,
Mhm.
and the most notable thing there was that there was a very obvious difference in, how would I word this, interactivity of the world, whether it had been built in Unity or whether it had been built with Facebook's visual scripting making VR tools. So they had like a very serious flying around game shooting at other planes
Mhm.
that was built in Unity, and then they had more simplistic, let's resize this tree and place it over there stuff that you could do while in VR. And there was a very large gap in sort of how appealing those worlds were. And it really underscores the fact that we know Facebook has tried to buy Unity in the past and how
Mm.
badly they need a tool like Unity to differentiate their offerings from what Rec Room can do to build on top of Unity and what other companies can do to
I
build on top of
I
Unity.
couldn't imagine if Facebook bought Unity. I mean, that would just be unreal.
Gosh. Oh man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They just come out. Anything from the comments?
That one. That yep. Adam Hartswell asks if we have any speculation about NVIDIA's March 19th announcement. If
Yes.
it's the next level, the next generation of GPUs, I'm going to throw my 2080 out the window and scream for months and
Yeah,
then
there's
Too
lots of
early
cry.
for you.
speculation. Lots of
Yeah.
I'll
speculation.
just
That's all it is, though.
because I know that, like, when I talk to them, like anything prior to the 20 series, like they want to basically deem irrelevant and, not a thing. So it's possible that maybe they'll announce like an even more like budgetary 20 series line to get rid of all the 10 series cards out
Mm.
there. I don't know. Maybe more
Mm.
VR stuff. Did win our People's Choice Awards at CES this year. Could
Ooh,
be a lot
maybe
of
a
different
new
things.
standard cable connection
No.
that everybody will struggle to make compatible with their
Yeah.
stuff. Who
There you
knows?
go. Then we
Who
got to buy
knows?
a bunch of dongles and stuff.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the next piece of news then, which is LIV mixed reality. It's now it's got beta support for Oculus Quest, which is really cool. And it looks like it works on both PC and iPhone. Ian, have you ever tried using LIV?
Yes. It's sort of the so I've did some of the earliest mixed reality tests. I was one of the first. I think it was Fantastic Contraption was one of the first apps to
Oh,
really
right.
innovate
Yep.
this, where what they did was they split the view into VR on your screen into 4 quadrants, and
Hmm.
then let you basically have a foreground, a background, and then composite them all in OBS. You have one layer for the foreground, one layer for the background, and then it's all tracked. So then Liv kind of took that idea and went with it and really refined it into a usable product and SDK that they've been rolling out to various devs who allow you to do these things. So I've used Liv at various times, and it's great for capturing Beat Saber and pistol whip footage, so you can kind of show exactly what you're seeing in VR. Jamie's trying to enter. Ooh, hi, Jamie.
Guess who got the timings wrong between.
Oh no!
Oh, did you guys have your daylight savings today?
No, you had it last week, and I have been correcting companies all week about them getting their embargoes wrong, and then I got this wrong, and now I feel very stupid.
At least your mic
Hello,
Huh.
works.
everyone.
That's pretty magical.
All right, well,
Uh-huh.
let's start over. Hello, and no, I'm kidding.
No.
So Ian, so you've
Oh,
tried
but
Live. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I love it. It's just there's a big setup is obviously really a pain always with green screens and with any mixed reality footage. Like there's a it's not worth doing if there's a lot of setup. It's like the VR story period, right? It's what keeps people out of VR is when I have to set up my two sensors every time and connect the thing to the computer. It's just too much friction, and that's still what mixed reality is. And at some point last year, I wanted to use an iPhone, and it's really a cool idea to be able to hook up your iPhone to your PC and use it as a webcam for doing things like mixed reality. And it's just a nightmare. And Live has an iOS app, which is incredible. In theory, it's a beta, it's very early, but wow, if they can get that to work wirelessly, you've got an incredible platform there for showing what it's like to be in a virtual world effortlessly. And I really hope that they're able to push that platform as well as they can. I've got the app installed. I have yet to get it working,
Yeah,
but
that's how
we're on
I'm.
that
That's where
path.
I'm at too. Yeah, I want to try this though. I want to try this so badly because I agree with you. I think that this is going to be, I don't want to say revolutionary, but it's definitely going to step up some people's game in term, literally and figuratively, uh, about capture and things like that. And I really enjoy all the mixed reality capture stuff. I mean, I would like to do more of it if I could find a way to just pick up and go. Let's do this. I don't
Well,
know.
so
Yeah.
well, I was going to say they're requiring A12 and A13 processors on your iPhone, but they will do automatic background removal. They'll recognize the human in the scene and then knock out the background
Hmm.
automatically and combine that in theory on your PC and do all that. Obviously, the dream would be is the Oculus app, and if Steam ever did something similar with their app, for that to happen actually on the phone, where you can just hold up your phone and look into the virtual world and record and
I
stream.
mean,
That would be
something that I
amazing.
do on a regular basis is I will, if my children are playing Beat Saber or something and they have friends over, I will get on the app and cast their quest to the TV. And there's a slight delay, but I mean, it's definitely a way to bring people into your experience, so it's not as secluded. I don't know, Tatiana, have you played around at all with the mixed reality stuff?
I have not
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people haven't, because I think it's not novice level stuff. I think it's a little bit more intermediate. How about you, Jamie?
So I did a thing this week. Is that why you're all pointing at me? To
Yep.
like.
I'm excited.
Okay.
That's a perfect segue.
Okay. Cool. Is that an item on the news, or are we just
It
talking
just
in general?
Talk
happened
about the
naturally.
thing.
Okay. Well, thank you for that brilliant segue. Last week I went to see the Vario guys. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They're a Finnish company. So
That's how I
Vario,
say it too.
Varjo, yeah.
Vario. Anyway, they have just announced a really cool new feature for their enterprise level stuff. So really, really cool headset that we already knew about. Super, super high resolution, the highest resolution you'll find in a headset, but on the flip side, it costs $10,000, so no one's going to be buying it anytime soon. Or at least none of us are. And they announced this week, like, mixed, basically kind of like mixed reality, but like inside the headset, using chroma key. So when you have a green screen in a room, they can use the pass-through cameras, which they would usually use for like pass-through AR or something like that, and project virtual Steam VR apps onto a green screen. So I saw them last week. I went into a room. About, let's say, like a quarter of the room was taken up by a green screen, and the rest of the room was just, as usual. And as I was looking through, I need my hands a little just to kind of, as I was looking through, like, at the pass-through screen, which is a $10,000 headset, incredibly high fidelity from that alone. Lovely, great big picture of the world, the real world, right there. And then I turn around and suddenly I'm in Google Earth. And if I'm like close enough to it, like I'm entirely covered in Google Earth, just like I would be in a normal VR app. It's really, really convincing. So if I look like halfway in between, I've got like this weird little like window into the world of Google Earth in my real surroundings. And not only that, but then I could bring up my hands, and obviously my hands aren't green, so it could pick them apart, and I'd have my hands in VR, like, again, looking really, really crisp, really, really real, really fantastic. And then other people in the room could walk into the green screen and suddenly be in my virtual world, which is really, really cool. It was like utterly insane to see. One point, one of the guys from Varjo picked up some of the green screen and like wrapped it around themselves, and then as they walked around the room, like it kept working basically. So they were like moving this window of Google Earth around the room as I was looking. It was, and then when he stood in front of the green screen, it was like he was wearing like an invisibility cloak in Harry Potter or something. It was like really cool, really, really cool.
I'm glad you said that, because that was the immediate first thing I thought of, is the Harry Potter invisibility cloak. That's amazing.
Yeah. And
Hide and
it's one
seek
of
in
the
the future is going to be so much fun.
Yeah. I'm going to go and update my whole wardrobe. I'm going chroma key all the way around. I want a chroma key set of gloves, a beanie. I want all green all the time.
I wouldn't cross any roads like that though.
Okay.
Just just keep safe.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that was really cool. But like I say, it's a $10,000 headset, and it's a really cool thing. To me, it doesn't have much practical use. I'm not going to set up my green screen in my home or whatever for that kind of thing right now. But like they introduced it because a client asked them to. Yeah, and for those kinds of people, it's a really big addition.
Is that headset $10,000 because it is still a prototype type of thing, or a dev kit, or is there some magic voodoo in it that makes it that expensive?
It is still a developer edition. This is the XL1, so that it does both full VR and the pass-through AR. And I mean, it's because it's a developer kit, and it is also just when it comes to Varjo, they don't like skimp on components in any way, shape, or form. They have the best cameras, both for pass through, and then the best screens. I mean, the screen is so high tech with Vario that they can actually only get like a very concentrated bit of the super high resolution area in the middle of the screen, and then the rest is slightly lower resolution. It's insane. It's like it's basically looking into the window of what we'll hopefully have for headsets in like probably even like 10 years maybe, but I don't know.
It still has the transition there between the high res and low res screens, right? Like,
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
still
it does.
visible?
It's still there. I think the first time I tried a Vario one was like a year and a bit ago, and I could be wrong, but I felt like it was the difference between the two areas was less pronounced in the XL one, and I also felt like maybe it was a bit bigger, the field of view.
Mhm.
But yep, it's cool. One day we'll have it.
Interesting. Anything from the comments?
Master Fu asked if the fake green screen with Connect is still a thing.
The fake green
There
screen.
are people still doing that's. Connect is an option in Live, so you can connect Connects to Live and use it for some better segmentation, I believe. Yeah, have you seen? I still need to try those avatars that Live has, which are incredible when you've got the
I've
leg
seen
tracking in
some of
there.
them in the Beat Saber videos on YouTube. They're pretty crazy. They're very smooth.
Yeah.
I was very surprised.
Okay. Well, hey, let's move on to the next piece of news. It's actually our last piece of news for the week. Apex Construct.
Apex.
The Apex. That's what I said, right?
Apex.
Yeah.
You said Apex.
I heard something different.
Apex.
Yes.
You didn't.
X.
Yes.
Okay. Construct on Quest has outsold all other platforms combined. Okay, so the Quest version is the biggest. Jamie, how about you talk about that?
It's pretty impressive, right? I asked the guys at Fast Travel, they confirmed that yes, that milestone was passed last weekend. So I think by that time, Apex Construct had been out on Quest for 10 months, and it had been out on PSVR and PC VR for around 24 months. So that's over double the amount of time, and Quest has already surpassed it. And it's just another one of the stats that we keep seeing that of the difference this headset is making to this community, right? Like it really is salvation for a lot of people in that finally, yes, something's coming along where people can start making some serious money on it. I mean, Fast Travel Games, they are not a small developer. They are, I don't know, probably like 15, 20 people in Stockholm right now. And they seem to be doing really well out of the Quest version of this game. So I think it speaks to the opportunity there. Again, as many other stories have so far, right? We know that Dread Halls is selling better on Quest than it is on any other platform right now. The Super
We're hearing
Hot
it almost
guys,
across the board. Yeah, I mean, it's like
yeah,
it's a question of whether it's Apex is such a dramatic example, but we're hearing the rate of sales on Quest is higher than other platforms almost
for
across
sure.
the board.
Yeah.
I wonder about the parity between the different versions. A game like Dread Halls can run on a lower device, and obviously the Quest is a little power restrained in some ways. I wonder about this game, Apex Construct. See, I said it right. Is the PC VR version and the PSVR version and the Quest version? How much parity is there between the three versions? I mean, have you
That's
played?
a good question. Yeah, no, I played all the versions. Mechanically, Apex Construct is all there on Quest, and it kind of had like an art style that, from the word go, was designed to kind of scale down because I feel like the guys at Fast Travel had a kind of inkling that Quest might be a thing when they started making the game. So it definitely is blurrier. It's definitely a lot more kind of monochrome, and its textures are way more simple. Its lighting's way more simple, but it's one of those things that when you're in the game and you're in the heat of a battle in Apex Construct, and it's a pretty intense game from that perspective, you just don't know, right? You don't, and if anything, not having the wire is a better trade-off than better graphical fidelity. I go between that with every game, but I definitely think in Apex Construct that's one of the games that a wire it really gets in the way of the experience.
Interesting.
So
What do we got, Tatiana?
Boy Brown says that they think Apex Construct sales on Quest is due to there being way better games, say, on the PSVR than the Quest at the moment, because the Quest doesn't have a lot of story-driven games.
yeah, that's true. Actually, that's a really good point. Like when you look at what's coming to Quest, it is a lot of kind of your Beat Saber wannabes and a lot of multiplayer sports stuff, which is all great. Like for introducing other people to the platform, but for gamers that bought Quest, Apex Construct is definitely one of the better choices out there right now. So that's a really good point.
Interesting.
Can't believe I just
Okay.
said gamers. I'm
Well,
so ashamed of
let's
myself.
let's move on to the next section of our show, which is called Release of the Week. And this is where we talk about what we're playing this week. And sometimes it's new, sometimes it's not. Let's start over here. Ian, what have you played this week?
11. I played a bunch of 11. I got the paddles. So I had the 3D printed paddles. Got them 11 table tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 table tennis. So yeah, I've got the paddles. So these are 3D printed, and they provide the grip of a ping pong paddle, and then they move the controller up to the paddle area, and so it sort of balances out the weight of the paddle a little bit, so that it feels more like a ping pong paddle in your hand. And then I played on 2 quests in my living room, back and
At the same
forth with my
time?
wife. Yeah, with back and forth with my wife with no latency. It was like 2 milliseconds
Mm.
of latency, and it was incredible. It was one of the most realistic simulations I've ever experienced. My family, my brother is a huge table tennis player. I've had table tennis table in my house since I was like 3 years old. I remember, making my brother mad because I tried cleaning his table tennis table for him with the wrong materials as a surprise when I was like 4 years old. One of my horrid memories from when I was a kid was,
What a lovely story.
almost ruining his table tennis table that he's playing professionally on. He's got robots to practice with. I mean, it's very serious.
Wait, what?
And then my brother has a robot that sits on the other end of the table and spits balls at you and does different
Oh,
types of
okay.
spin on it. And yeah,
I thought you meant like full on humanoid robot. I was like, hey, I gotta get me one of those.
no,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's like those tennis ball shooters, but yeah, it's table tennis ball. But to be able to do that in my living room without a physical table, without the physical balls, without having to run over and find the balls everywhere in the room,
Stop
just
it.
incredible. You
We all
missed
know
him
I keep
earlier
laughing.
saying it would be unreal if Facebook
Oh
bought
no,
Unity.
I heard it. For a second, I almost considered not joining this week when I heard that joke for a second.
Mighty power that my dad jokes have. I love it. That's really cool, Ian. I had no idea, and to have your level of, I guess, endorsement for the experience is wonderful, because I play ping pong as well. I'm a avid fan. I've played for years, and I have not tried 11 table tennis yet, because I was kind of waiting, because there are other ping pong options. And so to hear this level of enjoyment from you and experience, that's really cool. I have one question for you, though. Is this cross platform, where, because I don't have 2 quests, but I have a Quest and a Rift S, could I set something like that up in my
It
home?
should work.
Someone was actually asking that in the chat.
It should work. Yeah.
It's
I talked to the
cross-platform.
devs.
Excellent.
It's the same as I did this with Iron Lights recently, where Iron Lights has similar sort of cross-platform functionality where you can go into 2 different systems and play and hook up in Iron Lights and play a duel together. I've been playing Quest to Quest since it's such a good example of just what we all kind of want out of VR is just multiple people being able to play something together wirelessly. But yeah, some of these games really do have the cross-platform support, and that's really cool to see.
That's
Did
awesome.
did you or Julie try the VR Power yet?
I'm wearing it right now with my Link.
How do you like it? I have not heard from you about it.
It feels really nice, yeah. So I've got the VR Power accessory on the back of the Quest, weighing it down, keeping it up off my face, and it feels really comfortable. Yeah, I really like it.
And it doesn't get warm either. Like I mentioned in my review, like I wore a Quest for 9.5 hours in one day, and it never
mine
like.
isn't on right
You
now because
deserve
of
a
the
medal
link.
for
But
that.
I
Yeah, 'cause
mean,
the
it's
link,
just
yeah.
doing the counterweight thing.
You know what? I'm gonna order one of those as soon as we're done with this show.
I
I've
love
heard
it.
so many good things about it. I think I need to just go order one right now.
I sat in a Quest for 9 hours, 9.5 hours, 9 hours and 28 minutes and 38 seconds, or whatever the heck it was. But
I'll go so far as like, so I had a post out this week about an editorial sort of hoping that Facebook does a wireless link, right?
Oh,
Where
God, yeah.
they're able to build a dongle that you stick into your PC. Kyle, calm down. you put it into your
That would have
PC
been
and
more
it
of a Tatiana one, but okay.
wow,
What?
wow.
Are you
I
having
mean,
a
and it
what
boost?
manages the
dongle does it
wireless
make me
connection
laugh?
between your PC and your Quest. And I will go so far as if Facebook actually does that, if they're able to do the wireless version of Oculus Link, VR Power seems to be like a must-have accessory, because then you've got unlimited battery life. I mean, not unlimited, but all-day battery life out of a Quest, and then you can charge it up overnight and get going
And
again
it can
tomorrow.
charge your phone. You did test that out because
Yeah.
that was one of my theories. I was like, wait, because I don't have like an Android phone with USB-C, so I asked Ian if it would actually charge his phone, and he said it did pretty quickly.
Does it have multiple outs?
It
Yes, so
does.
there's
Well, it's one
a
out, yeah. Or
well,
two
there's
outs, I guess, yeah.
there's one input like that you use to charge it, and then there's a 1 amp out and then a 3 amp out, and you use the
Ooh.
1 amp out for like other accessories, but you use the 3, which is in the middle, for to power the Quest.
Because I could see having wireless headphones with the Quest.
Yeah, you could probably plug that
And
like if it's like an adapter, a
yeah, I don't
USB-C
know.
adapter.
But
Mhm.
keep in
the
mind,
1 amp.
Bluetooth
Yeah.
on Quest isn't working for
Hey,
headphones
someone
right
should
now.
write an article about that.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
we did.
that'd be a good idea.
Hey, good
Maybe you
thing.
should read that on
Yeah.
Upload VR right now. You can probably see it on the front page still.
Well, not right now, but give it a couple minutes after we're done with the show.
No, right now.
Tatiana, you played anything fun this week?
I've played this cool game. It's great. It's brand new. It's called What in God's Name is Oculus Software Doing to My Computer? And it's been
Yes.
fantastic. It has been, I mean, it's just like one of those things where like it's just such a mystery that you're just screaming and throwing things, and you're like, wow, this is such a great experience. So that's
Is
Yeah,
that,
so
yeah.
when
that
I joined the
cross-buy on Quest?
download,
Yes, it is. I
Oh,
believe
cool.
so.
when I joined the download today, my lip sync wasn't working, and I had to actually connect today on a second PC to get my lip sync to work, with no explanation as to why lip sync wasn't working on one
Yeah,
machine.
I don't
and it
know if
was.
it's actually working because I'm not at my machine at home. I'm on someone else's machine. But I don't know if like my lip sync works yet on my machine. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Well,
So
it's a saga that you've been going through at
yeah,
this point.
yeah.
And it's not an uncommon story. I mean, I've heard other people have challenges. I have personally had challenges where just one computer refuses to do it right, but everything else does. And it could be, USB drivers, it could be USB power, it could be something conflict. You just don't know because this stuff isn't solid yet.
I
It's
do
close,
think
does
it
it
is
too.
the software
yeah.
though,
Oh yeah.
because I had the headset unplugged and the software installed, and it still did it.
Hmm.
So it's very confusing. I'm working with Oculus on it. To like make long story short, for people wondering what the issue is, basically on Sunday, my computer black screened and rebooted, and I was like, whoa, this is weird. And I had someone remote into my computer, an experienced IT person, and they said it was an Oculus error. And now basically with Rift S plugged in or the Oculus software installed, my computer anywhere from every 5 to 30 minutes freaks out and logs out of my computer, and it has not been fun. But as I uninstalled everything and unplugged everything, my computer stayed on all night, so it's been a mystery.
Well, just don't give anything a 1-star review because you're having technical issues.
No,
Okay.
I'm not that kind of person. No.
Jamie, how about you? What have you played this week?
I have to be very careful. I've been playing a lot of things
Stuff.
under embargo, so I can't talk about them. There's lots and lots of games out at the end of the month, just in case you didn't realize. So instead of talking about what I've been playing, I'll be talking about what I've been doing, which is yesterday. Speaking of Quest things, I made myself a little FrankenQuest mod. I'm wearing it right now.
You said it was really easy, right?
It was really, really easy. So if you don't know, FrankenQuest is taking a quest removing the head straps, which, even though it feels horrible to do, does not damage the Quest whatsoever. And then taking a Vive Deluxe audio strap with industrial strength Velcro tape and attaching that to the Velcro on the Quest itself. Then taking the Deluxe audio strap audio jack, plugging it into your Quest, and you suddenly have a much more comfortable, better audio quality Quest. So I did that yesterday. We're gonna have a video on it because I filmed all myself swearing my way through it. And yeah, it's good. It's still not like as comfortable as I was hoping it would be, but it's definitely. I used to have just weights on the back of my Quest, which was doing okay, but it started biting into the back of my head after about
Were you the
15
person that
minutes or so.
strapped like the external battery to the back of your head? Is that you?
No, I wish I was, but I
Was that
wasn't.
Harry?
I literally had some weights
It does
sent
sound like
over
Harry.
from
I think Harry
Singapore.
It
did
does
that.
sound like something Harry would do.
Yeah, I
No.
think so. Yeah.
So yeah, that's something we'll have on the website hopefully next week, maybe sooner.
The
maybe
the
later.
crazy thing there is, of course, the other news that Vive is discontinuing its original headsets, and
well,
we've
the
asked
the
them.
Pro and the Focus, the original Vive is already discontinued, isn't it?
So, but yeah, so
Sorry.
there's also you use this accessory that is, according to Amazon, last I checked, was going to be back in stock at the end of the month on Amazon, and we've asked HTC whether that accessory is also going to be discontinued. But I think there's a fair chance that they've actually sold a large number of those accessories
Whenever it's back in stock,
for Franken
it's like,
Quests.
whenever it's back in stock, it's like straight on the Oculus Quest Reddit. They're back in stock. Go now, and then they're only there for like an hour or something before they're gone again.
I feel like an obvious question to ask is, if I FrankenQuest, do I still want VR power?
Oh, that's a good.
It wouldn't fit. It wouldn't
It
fit.
wouldn't fit.
Yeah,
It's
no.
a different strap on the back. Yeah.
Yeah. If you watch my unboxing video, or not my unboxing video, because I actually install it in the unboxing video. Like, there's these tiny like Velcro, not Velcro things that like wrap around the strap, and it's like very
Right.
perfectly snug fit for the Quest strap specifically.
Yeah. So the VR power fits on the back of the HTC logo on the back of the Quest, but if I FrankenQuest it, it won't fit on the back of the Oculus logo that's on the Vive Deluxe strap.
What?
Oh yeah. Take a look at him.
He's
It's
right.
a thing. Yeah.
It's
Oh.
just a lot, but
Yeah.
he's right.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes. Hey, you know what? We should do Hot Topic. What do you think?
No.
All right. Hot Topic for the week is, will Half-Life Alyx live up to the hype?
I should leave again.
I'm going to let Ian start here.
Yes.
Yes?
I'll say yes. That's it.
Okay. All right. Tatiana, what do you think? Yes or no?
I hope so.
Okay.
I'm very desensitized, like going to all these gaming conventions and trying demos and then getting, bugged out bad games. So like I haven't really gotten hyped over a game in a really long time. I've just kind of maintained this neutral thing, but based on what I've seen, like it could. And I think physics wise as well, especially if you have the index controllers, is going to really like make a big difference in comparison to other games.
I'm hoping that the audience is telling us in the comments here on YouTube whether you think it will or not. We'll take a poll here. Jamie, while we're waiting for people to say that, yeah.
I would like to expand the question, because living up to the hype in this day and age for the Half-Life series is a really loaded question, right? Because on the one hand, you have the fact that this is a return of one of the most legendary gaming series, and it's been away for over 10 years now, I think it is. And on the other hand, you have, will it live up to the hype as a VR game? And one thing I always come back to is one of my best friends is like a massive Half-Life fan. His favorite game of all time is Half-Life 2, but he hates VR. And I kind of get why. For him, he finds the headsets way too blurry. He doesn't like a lot of the interaction going into it right now. For me, the important side of the will it live up to the hype question is it good enough? Does it make a big enough leap that my friend would want to play it or get a headset and want to play it, right? And I mean, I can't speak to that yet, but it's just, yeah, you're asking a lot of questions when you say, is it going to live up to the hype?
Yeah, I love that. And I played Black Mesa recently, and
Oh yeah,
I haven't gotten through the whole game, but I'm going through the ducts, and I turn my kid is there sitting with me, and we're kind of switching off and going and playing. And I go into a duct. I can't see anything in the air duct. And so she says, "Okay, turn on your flashlight on." I turn my flashlight on, and there's immediately a head crab screaming, snarling at me right in front of me, right in
yeah.
the air duct. We
Nope.
both scream. We both yell. I accidentally click a button to actually exit the game, and
It's very on
apparently
brand for you.
I went back into
Mm.
the game, and I guess I did get a shot off and killed the head crab before I screamed and left the game. But that was an enormously impressive moment, and it's incredible to me that fans have rebuilt that to such fidelity here in 2020. Um, and it's an incredible gaming experience. To your point about living up to that, like, people have a memory of that from 1998
Yeah.
of doing the same thing back in that game, and it's going to be hard to capture that nostalgia of something they did as a kid. So there's so much to live up to if you've really been there in that journey from the beginning of more than 20 years.
And also,
Yeah.
so much of Half-Life, the first games, is the flow, right, and the pacing that is all defined by a keyboard and mouse. At the end of the day, like, it's hard to imagine playing those games any other way, even though they did come to console. And when you put VR into the equation, all of that is gone because VR is largely standardized in the way we aim and the way we grab stuff and move. And so there is a question of that iconic flow of Half-Life that was indistinguishably Half-Life. Is that going to be maintained here as well, or is it just going to feel like any other VR game essentially?
Hmm.
And that's a really, really hard thing to try and work out as well.
Yeah, Robert Dodge said that their worry is that it might come down when new VR/HLA players find out nothing else compares to HLA. Will it come down, be a big negative in the next month or with the next releases?
That's a good question.
Interesting.
That's a good question. I mean, I would say there are. I would say in the last 4 or 5 months, there's stuff that has released that I would not consider a come down. Like, play that and then maybe play Asgard's Wrath or play The Walking Dead or Stormland. There's definitely going to be, especially if you have a Rift, which I know is a bit of a depressing thing to think about, but mainly because lots of people would have bought indexes for Alyx. Yeah, I think there's enough out there that that's not going to be the case, and I think there's enough coming pretty soon as well. I mean, like the week that Alyx comes out, there's also going to be The Room VR, which I've played a bit of, which is great. There's going to be Down the Rabbit Hole, which is a really fun experimental little kind of game, and then Oculus Studios has another game called Lies Beneath, releasing I think the week after that. So it's actually, for some weird reason, everyone, it's been 3 months of no VR releases, and then everyone decided to release stuff around Alyx, which is just nuts. But
And that happens with AAA studios
yeah,
too.
it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
When Red Dead Redemption, and what was the years? Red Dead, it was Skyrim, it was Call of Duty. I remember that specific year was just a mess, and it was just release after release after release.
It's going to be interesting. Sorry, Animal Crossing and Doom both come out too, right? Are they?
Oh yes, because the
both
correlation between those two is just
The 20th. Yeah.
3 days before.
So right around. So there's going to be a lot of people talking about those two things while Half-Life Alyx drops.
I wonder, how much the game will be able to stay in people's memories for Game of the Year nominations come December. And provided it's up to that kind of quality in the first place. Does Half-Life Alyx get snubbed Game of the Year nominations and awards because of the nature of which you play it? I don't know. It's
well,
gonna
and
be really
that's something
interesting.
that the industry is going to have to come to terms with that eventually, and just say, hey, it's a VR only game, but it's still a game, so it can still be Game of the Year. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Do we have any comments?
Scott Mugford has joined, and
Hello,
he's
Scott.
in Corona quarantine.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Scott, be well. I hope you're doing okay, man.
Scott, no. Are you okay, Scott?
How are you feeling, Scott? Let us know. We're rooting for you, man. But we don't have to be silent while we wait for him to
I'm
answer.
just in the
Everyone, a moment of
anticipation.
silence for Scott. No.
No,
We-
no.
we
What are you
love you, Scott.
talking about? Scott's
He's-
here right now.
Everyone quiet. Yeah. Yeah.
Anything
I hope
else?
be well, Scott.
Is there anything else in the comments? Any talk of Alyx?
Oh, well, actually, Onakazi brings up a good point. I'll bet
I
sarcastically.
last left the house last week. I'll just
I went
throw
to
that
the
out
Trader
there.
Joe's. That's all I did.
I haven't been out
But
of the
they
house all
said
week either.
that the end of the fiscal year for a lot of companies never plays into releases, with sarcasm. Like, that's actually a good point, because with game studios, the end of your fiscal year is either like the end of March or like the end of February. It's never it never lines up with like a 12-year calendar. It always bleeds into the next year.
That's very true, but we're still talking about VR here. It's it's not much up to Facebook. Like, releasing Lies Beneath won't have a single impact on their bottom line for the fiscal quarter in the next.
Scott said that he's surviving. His mate got back from Thailand and got tested and waiting back to hear the results. So he is also in quarantine until the results come back. And he came around to play some Synth Riders and then felt ill the next day. So you did the right thing, Scott, by, quarantining yourself. I hope your friend is okay. Keep us posted.
Yeah, best goes out to you, Scott.
And your friend.
We're rooting
and
for
your
you.
friend.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Big Scott fans.
Oh yeah,
huge Scott fans.
Both of them.
Huge Scott fans. Yeah. All right. I think that kind of wraps it up for this week. Ian, do you have any final thoughts or anything to pitch?
Let me think. Well, I want Jamie to talk about our big announcement today. Yeah, that was big.
So we announced a little earlier than we were planning. We are doing the E3 VR showcase again in June, which I know you're probably like, what? What does that mean? E3's cancelled. Basically, E3 VR is like our Nintendo Direct exclusively for VR. It's an online video showcase where we announce really cool new games, show new trailers, make new announcements, that kind of thing. We wanted to get the message out there that we are doing it this year because in light of the cancellation, which we completely understand, we want to communicate that, yes, you don't need to worry. We are still going to have something probably that week. I mean, we'd already set a date, which I won't share now. We'll have a much more official announcement coming out soon. But yeah, we're really, really, really excited to be returning. I got some really, really cool stuff lined up for this year already. If you watch the Holiday VR Showcase back in November, I think we really kind of hit a good stride with kind of the form of the show. So I think you can look back. But yeah, June, won't say the day yet, but just keep an eye out because I'm really, really excited about this one.
Hey, Jamie, I have a question for you.
Shoot, Kyle.
Is there still enough time if somebody is watching this episode of the VR download and says, gee, we should participate in this? Should we contact Jamie and say, hey, we want to be part of this awesome showcase?
You should contact me. You should also contact the entire team on a special email we have for it called showcase@uploadvr.
Showcase at uploadvr.com.
.com,
okay.
Yeah, no, we're definitely still talking to people about being included. If you have something that you would like shown, there's a good chance we could work something out. So please do get in contact.
Very good. Very good. And in the meantime, while you're avoiding social contact and trying to stay healthy, spend all your time browsing through the back history and the log of uploadvr.com articles and YouTube videos. We can keep you occupied if you're just sitting around wondering what to do with yourself. Uploadvr.com is a great place to spend some quality time digging into VR even deeper. So highly recommend everybody do that. And of course, check out this show every Thursday at 10:30-ish a.m. Pacific time. Is that I think that's all of it.
Unless
Anything
the
left?
clocks are wrong.
Well, right, unless you're
in which case,
Jamie's.
Tatiana, anything at the end here for
I just hope that my saga with my computer and Oculus ends soon so I can return to virtual reality.
We will work on that. We will work on that.
Thoughts and prayers, please.
Yes. All right. And Ian, did you have?
It's going to be a big couple weeks. Yeah, like I said, like because
Mhm.
GDC was supposed to happen next week, and then we've got Alyx right after. We're going to be doing a lot to make sure we keep up with everything that's happening. It's going to be a big time for VR.
Absolutely.
We don't have an actual firm date for the E3 VR showcase, do we?
No, not something we're announcing
Okay,
today.
so
We will be
okay.
doing. We did a tiny little announcement today. We will be doing within the next few weeks a much bigger, more grandiose announcement.
Very good. And in the meantime, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you to the folks in the chat, and we will all see you in the future.
Stay
Bye.
safe out there.